काशी विश्व
or the start of the match.
उसमें कोई ऑफेंस नहीं थी, उसमें कोई हेजिटेशन नहीं थी, उसमें मुझे ये नहीं कहा गया था कि आप T20 कैप्टनसी ना छोड़िए, बल्कि उसको बहुत अच्छे से रिसीव किया गया.
I personally requested him not to give up T20 captaincy, but obviously he felt the workload.
It's all blowing up, and what a royal mess it has been for the BCCI. In his press conference today, as the Test captain, Virat Kohli was asked several questions on the speculations around his availability for the South Africa ODI series and the manner in which the decision to give ODI captaincy to Rohit Sharma was announced. Virat Kohli did not hold back. First, he said that he was informed by the chief selector before the Test selection meeting that he will no longer be one-day captain. But the fact that he also said that there was no prior communication betrayed the fact that he was upset not just with the decision, but also the manner in which it was communicated to him. Secondly, he clarified that he had not asked for a break, contrary to some media reports, and that he is available for the upcoming ODI series.
I was contacted 1.5 hours before the selection meeting on the 8th for the Test series, and there was no prior communication with me at all since I announced the T20 captaincy decision up till the 8th of December, where, as I said, I got a call 1.5 hours before the selection meeting, and the chief selector discussed with me the test team, to which we both agreed. And before ending the call, I was told that the 5 selectors have decided that I will not be the ODI captain, to which I replied, okay, fine. I am available for selection for the ODIs in South Africa, and I was always keen to play. My communication with BCCI on this issue has not happened that I want to rest.
But arguably, the biggest bomb dropped by Virat Kohli today was that he was not asked to not leave the T20 captaincy, contrary to what BCCI president and former India captain Sourav Ganguly had said.
I had personally requested him not to give up T20 captaincy, but obviously he felt the workload, which is fine. You know, he's been a great cricketer. He's very intense with his cricket.
जब T20 कैप्टनसी को छोड़ने की मैंने पहले BCCI से कम्युनिकेट किया, सबसे पहले मैंने BCCI को अप्रोच किया, तो उसको बहुत एक अच्छे तरीके से रिसीव किया गया. उसमें कोई ऑफेंस नहीं थी, उसमें कोई हेजिटेशन नहीं थी, उसमें मुझे ये नहीं कहा गया था कि आप T20 कैप्टनसी ना छोड़िए, बल्कि उसको बहुत अच्छे से रिसीव किया गया कि बहुत एक प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेप है.
ये कॉल सेलेक्टर्स का लिया जाता है, क्योंकि उसमें सेलेक्टर्स बात करते हैं, टीमें वो प्लेयर सेलेक्ट करते हैं, कैप्टन चेयरमैन सेलेक्ट करता है, तो उनके ऊपर होता है कि पहले उन्होंने विराट से बात की थी कि नहीं की थी. और सरप्राइजिंग है कि विराट जब ये चीज़ें इतने दिन से चल रही थी एंड सडनली आज वो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में उन्होंने ये चीज़ें बोली हैं, ये भी एक सरप्राइजिंग है ये चीज़ें बोलने के लिए. हाँ, लेकिन ये सिलेक्शन कमेटी का काम है. देखिए, इसमें BCCI बार बार आती है कि BCCI का बयान वो नहीं होता. सेलेक्टर्स क्या डिसाइड करते हैं, क्या बोलते हैं, क्या प्लान करते हैं, टीमें तो वही बनाते हैं.
मेरा यही कहना है कि ये पहली बार तो नहीं हुआ है, ये पहले भी होता है. और मेरे ख्याल से एक प्लेयर का जो आप देश के लिए इतना परफॉर्म करता है, देश के लिए खेलता है, मेहनत करता है, तो उसका इतना राइट जरूर होना चाहिए कि उसको पता होना चाहिए कि किस वजह से वो नहीं है टीम में और किस वजह से वो कैप्टनसी या किसी भी ऐसी चीज़ को जो कि वो टीम को हार्म कर रही है, उसको पता होना चाहिए कि ये आपको इम्प्रूव करना है. तो इम्प्रूव करने के लिए उसके पास एक जगह होनी चाहिए, उसको पता जरूर होना चाहिए कि किस वजह से हुआ है.
So now it has become Sourav versus Virat, Dada versus King Kohli. This entire captaincy row has blown up, and how? And ultimately, there will be questions asked. Who's to blame? Let me go across to the guests who are joining us. Former cricketer Kirti Azad is joining us on the show today. Vimal Kumar, senior sports journalist and author. But let me first go across to Jatin Paranjpe, former selector, joining us, because I want to settle the issue of the communication to Virat Kohli first up. Was BCCI wrong, Jatin, in the way it handled the ODI captaincy handover? Was Virat given a raw deal as far as the communication is concerned? He says he told the selector that whether I continue or not is your call. Ultimately, that call was taken and he was communicated when the test team was being selected. But do you believe that this was the right way, or something else, something more could have been done?
Right. So Shivani, the protocol has always been that the chairman of selectors is the channel of communication for most of the decisions, including all these big decisions. These decisions are well thought through. From my experience as being a selector for 4 years, they're very well thought through. A lot of angles, a lot of nuances are taken into consideration. A lot of different situations are taken into consideration. But the communication is always handled by the chairman of selectors. So I'm not surprised that Chetan Sharma either picked up the phone or met him and then communicated this decision. So that's the way it's been done throughout. So from that perspective, I think it's the BCCI is just following the protocol. It's followed for many years.
So you don't believe that there is any reason for Virat to be upset as far as the communication is concerned? I'm not sure as to if there was any other nuance to this communication. Look, when you've been captain of a team and you're then asked to step down, it's always a bitter pill to swallow, right? Mm-hmm. It's if you get a bad decision as a batsman, it's a bitter pill to swallow as well. But this one is much more in its magnitude. So I'm not surprised that Virat hasn't appreciated that. But from what I know of him, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he will continue being a good soldier. I think he's also put out a video where he said that he will follow the vision to the T that Rahul Dravid and the captain set out. And this has been a legacy in the Indian dressing room that you are extremely privileged to be playing for that team, and you're extremely privileged to be representing the nation, and nothing comes over and above that. So I, contrary to what Twitterati is saying, and the drumbeat is so high, when Indian cricket is concerned, and it's only growing louder by the minute. I have no doubt that he will be, an absolute ally to Rohit Sharma. And to Rahul Dravid as they take this team forward. I have no doubt in my mind at all. No, I don't think that is being doubted also. But I pressed this a little bit more. Does Virat Kohli have grounds to be bitter about the way the captaincy change was done? Surely when he quit the T20 captaincy, he would have seen it coming that he might be asked to leave ODI captaincy too. He also said today that I told the selectors that decision is up to you.
Yeah, it's when you are splitting the captaincy, it's across two broad pillars, right? Red ball cricket and white ball cricket. So I think you would have expected it to a certain extent that they wouldn't leave just one format of white ball cricket with Rohit Sharma, but would like him to take over the ODI team as well. Because if you look at the flying formation of both the formats, there is the white ball format which has a similar flying formation across T20 and ODI cricket. The test team is slightly different. So the guy who's handling the T20 team should rightly also be handling the ODI team, because it just makes so many things easier as far as communication and the communication of the vision goes. So I can imagine that he's upset about it, but because it's a big call, he's been handling this team with Ravi for so many years now. So I'm sure that he's upset about it. But look, that's the way it goes sometimes. When you're playing competitive sport, most of the decisions are hard decisions. When a player is dropped, the player is upset as well. But hey, that's the way it goes, unfortunately.
Okay. Kirti Azad, let me bring you in on this now. Was it not communicated properly to Virat? I mean, the ODI selection is still some time to go. So he has been informed well in advance that you are no longer ODI captain.
That too, when you are selecting a side, a test side, and you tell him an hour and a half before that. I think you need a lot of respect for that. I remember how Mr. Bishan Singh Bedi was dethroned, how Mr. Sunil Gavaskar was dethroned, or for that matter, Mr. Venkat Raghavan was on an Air India flight from somewhere abroad coming back to India, and he was replaced as captain. At least Saurav should have realized through his own experience. I remember I had defended him when Greg Chappell was there and he had a problem and he was dropped as captain. He should have realized, he should have himself taken his own case and spoken to Virat much earlier. I'm not saying that Virat is a special case. Yes, he's a special batsman. He's a cricketer. He leads by example. He's a good, aggressive captain. And I agree with Jatin on a lot of points, except for being upset that he's not the captain. I think he's really taken the side and he said he was available for the one-day selection. So that shows that he wasn't upset. But I feel it should have been done in a more proper manner. I mean, I thought BCCI would have become a little more professional on the cricketing front with Saurav as the head. And you also have a former captain who had tweeted about the rift, the speculation that was going on. I think these things should not be coming out in public. And the captain who has given a yeoman service to the country for such a long time, that is Virat Kohli, should have been informed well in advance and in a proper manner. And I do agree with the question that you asked.
No, but what is the proper manner then? That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. What else could have been done? Surely the selectors are not going to say whether you're okay with this or not, Kirti. I mean, that is their call. So they
I do agree that it's their call. But why 1.5 hours before the selection is taking place? Your mind is somewhere else. I mean, if I have to play a game tomorrow, my mind would be completely focused. Today would be completely focused on the game. So when you're telling somebody that you're not going to be a captain, it could have been told much before the selection took place.
But it wasn't the ODI selection.
In a more polite, proper manner. Yes.
Kirti, it wasn't the ODI selection. The ODI series is still more than a month to go. It was the test team selection in which he's still very much the captain.
Yes, I do agree with you. I'm not refuting anything that you are saying or Jatin is saying. I'm saying is that when you are doing a test selection and you're telling him an hour and a half before that, it could have been done maybe after the selection, spoken to him for a while, explained it to him rather than just bluntly saying you're not the captain.
No, I agree with that. I also agree. I also feel, Kirti, that, when it comes to the announcement to the public, that was also not right from the BCCI. It was the test team selection announcement. In the end, there was a line that Rohit Sharma will now be the ODI and T20 captain going forward. Surely Virat Kohli deserved a better send-off than that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. This is what exactly I'm trying to say is that you're doing a test selection and then you're telling him that you're not ODI captain. I mean, you do the test selection or maybe well in advance tell him you're not going to be one day white ball captain, either in the two of the limited games that have to be played. And you'll be only captain for the test series. So maybe after that, I mean, before maybe a couple of days before or maybe a week before the one-day team was selected. So, these are things that could have easily been resolved in a proper manner rather than, making a hodgepodge of it and so much of speculation coming out in the open. And can you imagine if Rohit Sharma doesn't play under Virat Kohli and Virat Kohli doesn't play under Rohit Sharma, both are going to lose. India will lose, both are going to lose. They lose out on matches, they lose out on performance, they lose out on their great name. So why would any of them, either of them, not want to play for this great country under anybody's captaincy?
No, I don't think that was ever the case. That was more speculations fueled by fans as well. But when you say this could have been handled better, who is at fault here? The selectors or the BCCI?
I think both. If this was to be decided by the selectors should have gone up to the president. Generally, what happens is when a team is selected, when I was also a national selector, we would select the team. It would go to the president, president of the board. He would see, okay, sign it, and then it would be announced. But it is always this custom that the team, after being selected, goes to the president to have a look. So obviously, if you're changing the captain for any format, you generally write and inform the president about it. Yes. And he himself is a cricketer, and he has also suffered the same fate. I'm not saying that Virat is very upset. I don't think so he's upset. I think definitely he feels hurt for the way he has been informed that he's not going to be the captain. So once it goes to Saurav, he could have also unofficially spoken to him. Obviously, the selectors would. But then you can understand, I don't want to say this. I mean, all of the selectors are really great guys. But if you put the total number of matches they've played, it won't be even half of what Virat has played.
That's always the conundrum, isn't it? The coaches can often not match up to the star players in the team. The selectors can often not match up to the star players in the team. Vimal, let's focusing on the communication bit first. I'll come to one of the other issues in a bit. Where do you think it went wrong and who's to be blamed?
I think two things clear. I heard Kriti Azad and Jatin Pranjve, both distinguished cricketer for India, and they both have been selected. We should not be now saying BCCI because it is easy to being ambivalent when we accuse BCCI. Let's say president. Who is the boss of BCCI? Sourav Ganguly. Who is the former captain? Sourav Ganguly. No one knows it better. Sourav Ganguly. Why did not Chetan Sharma was allowed to do a press conference? Such a critical issue. You tell me, since Kirti Azad day, Jatin Pranjve day, even poor MSK Prasad was facing a hostile media, answering all the questions. Madan Lal, Kiran More, Sandeep Patil, Shrikant, everyone has faced media. Why Chetan Sharma? The poor. Now it is easy to blame poor Chetan Sharma. I am not defending Chetan Sharma. Why Sourav Ganguly as a president did not allow? No, you should communicate. Whose job is this? It's a BCCI president. He is the boss. He is somebody as a captain. When you say lead from the front as a captain, here the president should lead from the front. He has been the former cricketer. For years, we have been saying that, a former cricketer should lead BCCI. Now we are in the situation where a former cricketer is leading the BCCI. And what is this? The other day, we all were celebrating. Look at the golden era of Indian cricket is back. Sourav Ganguly is president. Rahul Dravid is coach. VVS Lakshman is NC head. And here we are. What has changed? The better Niranjan Shah and Rajiv Shukla, they were better. It's Sourav Ganguly.
I don't know why this culture of the press conference has been done away with completely. We haven't had a press conference of the selectors in a long time.
Chetan Sharma has just one press conference. Why? Who has stopped him? Chetan Sharma can't be going and begging, please allow me to speak, please allow me to speak. Now everyone will say, no, it is Chetan Sharma's...
No, maybe in between it was stopped because of COVID. I don't know, I'm speculating. I also don't know if he was not allowed, whether he wanted to and he wasn't allowed.
COVID time, every day you have Virat Kohli press conference, Rohit Sharma press conference, online press conference. The whole world is doing press conference online. Chetan Sharma can do it. If BCCI allows him, BCCI doesn't want Chetan Sharma to speak. They want all these unnamed sources so that their agenda can go. And it should hurt Indian cricket. I am not... the fault is with Virat Kohli. The fault is with Sourav Ganguly.
But let's also not forget the fact, Vimal, that when Virat was captain and Ravi was coach, maybe they also exercised too much influence.
Yes.
Selectors had become sitting ducks. Can Kirti come in here? Kirti? Because, a lot of people also seem to believe that, the way Virat handled himself was also very arrogant. Too big for his shoes. And then the way he announced his T20 captaincy, he announced it first. It was his decision purely. And he said that, I want to be free and fresh to lead in the ODI and Test cricket. That was also presumptuous of him.
Why? I mean, he had informed the board that he doesn't want to do T20 before he came and gave an interview that he's going to relinquish his captaincy in T20. And what is arrogant about him? Just his aggression. He takes the fight into the enemy's camp. He plays aggressively. He shows what his intent is. His batting shows the way the kind of aggression that he has. Why would anybody say that's arrogance? Why
behind the scenes
aggression is taken as arrogance?
Behind the scenes, not on the field, in the dressing room.
Well, fair enough. Then you tell me. I have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. You better tell me, because that's the kind of speculation you were seeing regarding a rift between Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. So please go ahead and tell me what's happening behind the scenes, so we should know what's all speculation or what is there going on there behind the scenes.
For example, it is believed that it was Virat Kohli who, wanted Ravi Shastri. His what he said went, and even though the BCCI felt differently at the time.
Who said so? Who said so? Could you tell me? Could you give me some authentic example? Give me some proof.
So you believe that, okay, let me take this to Jatin also. Jatin, let me ask you the same question. There is a sense also that Virat also came from a position of entitlement that, I don't want to give up my ODI captaincy, so it shouldn't be taken away from me. Many experts feel that there was an assumption on his part when in his statement he said that I will continue to lead in ODI and Test cricket. Clearly, the board felt differently.
He was leading all the three formats.
Sure, and let's not forget that there is a new coach in charge as well. So that coach's vision, that coach is mindset has also got to be taken into consideration, and maybe that was one of the factors wherein it was thought to split the captaincy two-way instead of like you can call it three-way for a certain amount of explanation. But I think Rahul probably also felt that it's best, and I think it's the right decision. I think it's right to leave white ball cricket in the hands of one custodian and red ball cricket in the hands of the other custodian, because it just allows players, it just allows captains a little more mind space. Shivani, captaining a team is like being the CEO of a big organization. You have a bowling unit, you have a batting unit, you have the selectors as stakeholders on the other side. Now with Saurav as the president of the BCCI, obviously such a great cricketer himself. You have the BCCI as a stakeholder as well. So it takes away a lot of your time. And I think these would have been a few factors which the selectors also would have considered.
Actually, you make a good point, Jatin. There is a new coach too.
So he can be the best.
And surely Rahul Dravid's opinion must have also been sought. We don't know. He's not spoken. Nobody else has said so. But Kirti, let me also take a comment on the direct clash between Virat and Saurav. Because Saurav's Dada said that I had asked Virat to not step down from T20. Virat today says, no, I was never told not to step down. How do you see this?
But do you want me to say anything? Doesn't everybody know who's watching this, what's going on? Do I have to really throw a stone in this muck? I don't want to get into this rubbish. He's a great player. He's accepted it very gracefully. He's talked what it is true, what's right there. Saurav has said something. Well, let Saurav explain whatever he has said or he's not said. Let's put rest to these bloody speculations and think about the series ahead in South Africa, because it's going to be a tough series. Good, hard, bouncy, nice tracks, good professionals that he's going to play against. So let's not spoil the morale of the side. Once Virat has made it clear, the only point that I feel is that he should have been given proper respect when he was told that he's not going to lead the one-day side. That's about it. Nothing else.
I don't think anybody's questioning the decision. Yes, Vimal? Directly Saurav versus Virat now. Obviously, we can't say anything. We don't know who's telling the truth, who's telling a lie. But both cannot be true.
No, I will just ask Kirti bhai. I know he is not going to say that. But Kirti Azad was one of the selectors when Saurav was at his prime. He wanted everything. Jagmohan Dalmia was rooting. He confronted him. So Saurav has got very few characters in Indian cricket who can confront him. Maybe a Kirti Azad or now a Virat Kohli. So Kirti bhai, I will just request you, if you are comfortable, can you share that anecdote which you have shared with me so many times in past?
No, this was in Calcutta when two of the players who had come in from, I think, we were going to Pakistan series. And I think it was Rahul Dravid was the captain, 2002-03. They'd come in from Australia, and two of them had given certificates that they were unfit and couldn't play the Duleep Trophy matches. And they would be available for the Pakistan trip. So I said, fair enough, where are the certificates? I was just going through as everybody else was, and I saw the certificates for fitness were given by a gynecologist, the same doctor from Mumbai. And I laughed my guts off. And I said, no, this can't be done. Then Mr. Dalmia was the president. He was sitting there in the Kolkata, in the CAB office. So we went there. Mr. S.K. Nair from Kerala was the secretary, who was the convener for this. I was convening the meeting. So we went there and I said, there's no way I'm going to let this selection take place. We had to catch a flight at 5 o'clock, but I suppose I had to, but because of this, I had to take it the next day. Mr. Dalmia understood the entire point. He said, fair enough. We'll see the fitness of these boys and they should go and play. There's no need for rest. And both of them played the game and scored. And I said, the bowler has to bowl over 35 overs at least, and the batsman should show. It shouldn't be just you go there and you're playing and you go and sit down.
Right.
So it happened. So, I mean, when you're true to your country, when you're true to your job, you simply are ready to take anyone because that's the truth. And I think Vimal knows it because we talked about it a lot many times because we used to do shows on the cricket. And there are so many other anecdotes like that when I had to confront Mr. Saurav Ganguly. We had Mr. John Wright. He was always right. Anybody is saying anything, I say, yes, you're right. No, but this player should come in. Yes, you are also right. Oh, Mr. Azad, you are absolutely right. So, that used to go on.
Kirti, unfortunately, I don't have time. Saurav Ganguly left his residence a short while ago. He didn't really say anything. Let's wait and see if he clarifies. He also holds a very dear position in Indian cricket, and certainly questions over his reputation will also not go down well. But I do thank all of you for joining us. I wish we had more time, but we don't. Thanks a lot for watching.